I'm very pleased that today we have the opportunity to celebrate some of the brightest minds in the province. As a research-intensive university, Carleton has a number of groundbreaking researchers who have been funded by the province of Ontario, and they're conducting research in a number of areas, not limited to, but including digital media, environment, health, and globalization. And so we're especially pleased to be able to be hosting this morning's announcement from the province of Ontario and their support for some of our brightest minds and as a result, in the future of all Ontarians. And now I'd like to introduce a great friend of Carleton University and a very familiar face on our campus, Mr. Yasir Naqvi, who's the member of Provincial Parliament for Ottawa Centre and the Parliamentary Assistant to the Minister of Revenue. Yasir.
That was perfect clapping on the cue. That was very good. Thank you very much. Kim, thank you very much for your kind introduction. And those of you who don't know, we're really honored to have among us the Chancellor of Carleton University with us today, the Right Honorable Herb Gray. Thank you very much, sir, for being here today. I have a little story about the Right Honorable Herb Gray, which I would like to share. Often people ask people like myself as to how did I get involved in politics and in public service. And one of those stories I often tell is my one meeting when I was a undergraduate student. I must have been around 19 or 20 years old at that time at McMaster University, where you came to visit. At that time, you were still in the opposition. This is before the 1993 election, as I recall. And Mr. Herb Gray came and spoke about the value of public service and talked about his career and how he got involved as a young man in Windsor at the time, and really encouraged every single one of us students who were there in the audience that how if we choose to get engaged in politics, that how we can make a big difference in the lives of our communities. So here I am today standing in your presence on behalf of the Government of Ontario making an announcement to my alma mater, Carleton University. So thank you very much for your words of encouragement and getting me involved in public service and making my small contribution to my city of Ottawa. Thank you very much for coming down on a beautiful August afternoon after much rain. I think we all probably want to be outside and enjoy the great weather, but I think the announcement we're about to make on behalf of the Government of Ontario is also extremely important, and it's very important for the kind of work that is being taken on at Carleton University. As an alumni, it's always a great pleasure for me to come here. I was just here yesterday actually speaking to a group of young people who are part of a youth camp called Rise and Flow, which is being supported by Carleton University, and they invited me to come speak about my life and what I do in law and politics. So it seems like I'm here sort of every single day. I'm sure I probably get some sort of distinction of being, the alumni who visits the university the most kind of thing. I'm hoping for that. It is my great pleasure to announce on behalf of the Government of Ontario, in particularly the Ministry of Research and Innovation, that the government is investing almost $500,000 in 4 different research projects right here at Carleton University. I think we should be extremely proud of the kind of work that goes on in terms of research, be it in physical sciences or other areas like biology or chemistry, in enhancing our knowledge, our understanding of various fields. I'm not going to talk a lot in detail about what those specific projects are because we've got 2 of our scientists who are with us who will be receiving those grants. But to say that, that the Government of Ontario is working with you shoulder by shoulder to ensure that you've got the necessary funding to continue the good research you are doing and not only putting Carleton University on the map, but also Ontario on the map. I think a lot of you have heard me before talking about how our new phase of economy in this province and in Canada is the knowledge-based economy. That's where our strength really lies, and the kind of work that goes on in our universities like Carleton University, along with engaging the students, be it at undergraduate level or at graduate or postgraduate level, is where our competitive advantage lies. So it's extremely important that our governments and private sector continue to invest in our universities, in our researchers, in our scientists, so that we continue to do the good groundbreaking research. Is important to put Ontario and Canada on the map. So congratulations for receiving the $500,000 in funding from Ministry of Research and Innovation, and look forward to working with you and making sure that we have more investments being made in the great research that is being done at Carleton University. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yasir. Now you can see why we consider you a true friend of Carleton. And we want to thank you and the province of Ontario, and in particular the Ministry of Research and Innovation, for its unflagging support for innovation and its vision and recognition of the role of knowledge and knowledge discovery in the future of Ontario. And at this point, I'd like to invite the Right Honourable Herb Gray, who would also like to say a few words of congratulations to our groundbreaking researchers.
Well, I'm delighted to be here as Chancellor of the University to join in the thanks to the Government of Ontario for these outstanding grants being made to Carleton's outstanding researchers. You know, you probably saw Dr. Ronti's article in the Globe the other day talking about how the university is the place for developing critical thinking and fundamental inquiry, and balancing that with contributions to real-world current activity. And Carleton has a wonderful balance in that regard, and this is an example of it. So I commend all those concerned. I wish the researchers well. I know they'll make good use of the money, and I'm very pleased to be here to express these thanks and congratulations. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We do have a couple of our researchers here today that are receiving an award, including Dr. Jeremy Laliberté from the Faculty of Engineering, who's receiving an Ontario Research Infrastructure funding for his work in engineering, looking at making stronger and more and lighter materials for aircraft. We are also joined by Dr. Maria De Rosa from the Department of Chemistry, who has received an Early Researcher Award. And I'm pleased to say that with this award, or the two awards in this round of funding, that Carleton now counts over 20 young researchers who have received the Early Researcher Award, which is quite an accomplishment given the short history of this program. So Dr. Maria De Rosa received her PhD in chemistry from Carleton University. She's one of our alumni in 2003, and was awarded an NSERC postdoctoral fellowship to do research at the California Institute of Technology from 2004 to 5 with Professor Jackie Barton, a world leader in DNA sensor research. In 2005, she was returned to us as an assistant professor in the department, and since then has also been awarded the John Charles Polanyi Research Award for New Researchers. She's worked tirelessly with her graduate students in the field of biosensing, but she's going to be the one who's much better at telling you about her work than I am. So, Maria.
Thank you so much, Kim, and I just want to start by saying how happy I am to be here to have this opportunity to say thank you to Ontario and, of course, to Carleton University for this Early Researcher Award. In the next few minutes, I just want to describe briefly the sort of work that I'll be doing with the award and hopefully convey to you the impact that this sort of funding has on a new researcher like me. The work that I'll be doing with this funding is to develop something that we've been working on in collaboration with some great researchers at Agriculture Canada. We're trying to develop something called a smart fertilizer. So what does this exactly mean? Basically, we know fertilizers are used to provide nutrients to crops, and they help crops grow and improve crop yields. Since we all eat, that's important to us, right? We need to have a stable, cheap food supply, right? And all this is partially related to fertilizers. But fertilizers have benefits, and this, though, comes at a cost, an economic cost. The farmers do have to provide quite an investment in order to have fertilizer use, but also an environmental cost. If fertilizers end up in the water or in the air where they don't belong, then they can have negative environmental impact. So what we would like to do is develop a fertilizer where we can use less and get more. So a fertilizer that's going to be more efficient. This is our smart fertilizer idea. And basically, this early researcher award funding is going to allow me to work on part of this project. And what we're going to do is that we're going to make films that are going to have two roles. These films are going to coat the fertilizer products, and they're going to be able to recognize when crops need nutrients. And once this recognition event happens, they're going to release the fertilizer to the crop. In this way, the fertilizer is only going to be available to the crop when it's needed. So it's going to reduce the chances that this fertilizer is going to get wasted, washed away, blown away, or anything that could lead to lower efficiency. And this is really important because current fertilizer technology is really inefficient. Actually, about 50 to 70% of the fertilizer that we put on crops today doesn't end up providing nutrients to those crops. So we have a real opportunity to make a major difference in both the economic and environmental sustainability of agriculture through this project. So in order to be able to do this work, someone like me needs a couple of things. We need to have a space and a facility to do this work that's filled with equipment that can help us, the tools we need to answer our questions. And we need people to be able to fill that lab, to do the research, and to answer these questions. And we've been so lucky, so fortunate that Ontario has been able to provide us with both these things. We have a wonderful facility here at Carleton University that's been funded by the Ontario Research Fund. And we have now this early researcher award funding that's going to help us to hire, train, support students who are going to be able to do this work and hopefully provide benefits to all of Ontario. So all of this to say that we're really, really thankful to Ontario and to Carleton University for the opportunity to do this work. I hope that you realize that for a new researcher like me, this sort of funding is really critical in order for us to get off the ground. And I want to say that programs like the Early Researcher Award and the Ontario Research Fund really demonstrate how serious Ontario is about recruiting and retaining and supporting really the best researchers. And that creates this culture of innovation in a province, and that's going to be of benefit not only to researchers but to all of Ontario. So really it's so important that Ontario supports in this way, and we're really so thankful. So with that, again, I want to thank you, and I want to promise that we're going to work really hard to make sure that this money is put to good use. Thank you.